Scientists say most people miss out on 5 simple daily habits that could be the difference between living a shorter life or reaching 100 in good health. It sounds dramatic, but the numbers don't lie. According to the World Health Organization, the global average life expectancy hovers around 73 years. Yet, in certain parts of the world, people routinely live well into their 90s and beyond, often with strength, sharpness, and vitality that defy what most of us expect from old age. The startling question is, why them, and not the rest of us? For decades, researchers believed longevity was mostly about genetics. If your parents lived long, you probably would too. But groundbreaking studies now prove genetics account for only about 20 to 30% of your lifespan. That means up to 80% of how long you live depends on daily choices. In other words, you have far more control over your future than you think. And here's the kicker: most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. Poor diet, sedentary living, chronic stress, bad sleep, and lack of meaningful connections slowly carve away at their health. It doesn't happen overnight. It's silent, gradual, and easy to ignore until it's too late. This is why scientists studying blue zones, the regions of the world where people live the longest and healthiest lives, are sounding the alarm. They've uncovered 5 life-changing habits that consistently show up in the routines of centenarians. And if you're over 60, or even just starting to think about healthy aging, these habits could determine whether you simply survive the next decades or truly thrive all the way to 100. Let's break down the truth. Why most people don't make it to 100. The modern world is stacked against longevity. Processed foods, endless sitting, chronic sleep disruption, and the rise of isolation create the perfect storm for early decline. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, dementia, and cancer are now so common that many assume they are just part of aging. But here's what scientists emphasize: they are not inevitable. In Okinawa, Japan, home to one of the world's highest concentrations of people over 100, rates of heart disease and dementia are astonishingly low compared to Western nations. In Sardinia, Italy, men live longer than almost anywhere else on the planet, thanks to daily movement, natural diets, and strong family ties. In Loma Linda, California, a blue zone right here in the U.S., Seventh-day Adventists live up to a decade longer than their neighbors, largely due to plant-rich diets and stress-reducing routines. The gap between the average person and these centenarians isn't luck. It's lifestyle. And the tragic truth is that millions of people are missing out on small, doable habits that could add not just years, but quality years to their lives. The science of longevity, it's in your daily habits. Think of your body like a bank account. Every decision you make is either a deposit or a withdrawal. Eat a colorful plate of vegetables? Deposit. Walk after dinner? Deposit. Stay up until 2 a.m. doom scrolling on your phone? Withdrawal. Skip meals and binge on fast food? Withdrawal. Over time, these tiny daily choices compound. By your 60s, 70s, and 80s, the balance of your health account becomes clear. Did you invest wisely, or did you let it drain away? Scientists now track markers like telomere length, the protective caps on your DNA, and inflammation levels to measure aging at the cellular level. What they've found is astonishing. People who adopt the right habits can actually slow biological aging, keeping their bodies functionally younger than their chronological age. In fact, a Harvard study showed that adopting just 5 lifestyle factors — healthy diet, regular activity, healthy body weight, moderate alcohol, and no smoking — could extend life expectancy by over a decade. And this isn't about barely hanging on in your later years. It's about remaining strong, sharp, and independent deep into old age. The urgency, why you must act now. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're over 60, your margin for error is smaller. Every unhealthy choice has a bigger impact because your body doesn't bounce back as quickly as it did in your 20s or 30s. But this isn't a reason to panic. It's a reason to act. The beauty of these 5 habits is that it's never too late to start. Even people who adopt them in midlife or later often see dramatic improvements. Imagine waking up with more energy, fewer aches, better memory, and the confidence that you're building a future worth living. Scientists emphasize that these habits aren't extreme. You don't need to train for marathons, eat exotic superfoods, or spend thousands on supplements. The centenarians of the world didn't do any of that. Their secrets are surprisingly simple, yet profoundly effective. Setting the stage for the 5 habits. So what are these game-changing habits? Across the world's longest-living populations, scientists consistently find 5 key themes. The food factor, eating in a way that fuels longevity, not disease. Movement as a lifestyle, staying active naturally throughout the day. Rest and recovery, prioritizing sleep and stress reduction. Strong social bonds, building a supportive network that protects health. Purpose and mindset, cultivating a reason to live, even into your 90s and beyond. These aren't gimmicks. They are evidence-backed, time-tested, and universally accessible. And if you weave them into your daily life, you may not just add years, you may add life to those years. The sobering truth is that most people will never hear this message until it's too late. They'll continue on autopilot, believing aging equals decline, when in reality, decline is optional. Scientists are practically begging us to wake up. 5 habits could be the difference between living out your later years in hospitals and nursing homes, or celebrating your 100th birthday surrounded by family, standing tall, and enjoying every moment. Now, let's dive into the first of these 5 powerful habits, the food factor. What you eat every single day may be the single greatest predictor of whether you reach 100 in good health, or fall short. Scientists have uncovered something extraordinary. The world's longest-living people don't follow fad diets, count calories, or obsess over protein shakes. Yet they thrive into their 90s and 100s with astonishingly low rates of chronic disease. The secret? Their daily nutrition habits. And here's the emergency wake-up call. Most modern diets are silently shaving years, sometimes decades, off our lives. Processed foods, sugary drinks, and oversized portions are fueling epidemics of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. If you want to join the rare group of people who make it to 100, what you eat must change. The power of blue zone diets. Let's travel for a moment to the blue zones, the 5 regions of the world where people live the longest. These include Okinawa, Japan, home to the world's longest-living women. Sardinia, Italy, where men live longer than almost anywhere else. Nicoya, Costa Rica, famous for vitality deep into old age. Ikaria, Greece, nicknamed the island where people forget to die. Loma Linda, California, a U.S. community of Seventh-day Adventists who live up to a decade longer than average Americans. Despite being scattered across the globe, their diets share striking similarities. They aren't about restrictions or supplements. Instead, they focus on real, whole foods, eaten in moderation, often prepared with cultural traditions that have been passed down for generations. Common threads: what centenarians eat. Here's what scientists consistently find across these long-lived populations. Mostly plant-based, roughly 90 to 95% of their calories come from plants. Vegetables, beans, lentils, whole grains, fruits, nuts, and seeds form the base of their diets. Meat is eaten sparingly, usually just a few times a month, not daily. Beans are a staple. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and soy products like tofu show up daily. Beans are packed with fiber, plant protein, and micronutrients that fuel longevity. Minimal processed foods. Centenarians don't rely on fast food, refined sugar, or heavily processed snacks. Their meals are homemade, simple, and nutrient-dense. Healthy fats: olive oil in Ikaria, nuts in Nicoya, fatty fish in Okinawa. These natural fats protect the heart and reduce inflammation. Low sugar: desserts aren't an everyday indulgence. Sweetness often comes from fruit, honey, or occasional festive treats. Smaller portions: Okinawans follow hara hachi bu, the practice of eating until 80% full. This prevents overeating and keeps calorie intake naturally balanced. Alcohol in moderation. Some blue zones, like Sardinia and Ikaria, drink a glass of red wine with friends at meals. But binge drinking is unheard of. The science behind the food. Why does this way of eating work so well? Let's break down the evidence. Fiber and gut health. High-fiber diets feed healthy gut bacteria, which produce compounds that lower inflammation and support immunity. Studies link fiber to lower risks of heart disease, stroke, and cancer. Antioxidants and anti-inflammatory foods. Colorful vegetables and fruits are loaded with antioxidants that combat oxidative stress, a major driver of aging. Stable blood sugar. Whole grains, beans, and vegetables keep blood sugar steady, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes, one of the biggest killers worldwide. Longevity molecules. Certain foods, like nuts and olive oil, activate pathways in the body that promote repair and reduce cellular damage. In fact, a major Harvard study found that people who regularly eat nuts live 2 to 3 years longer on average. Imagine, just a handful of almonds or walnuts a day could add years to your life. What to avoid? Silent killers on the plate. If you want to make it to 100, it's not just about what you add, it's about what you avoid. Scientists warn these modern foods are stealing health and longevity. Processed meats, bacon, sausage, deli meat linked to higher risks of cancer and heart disease. Sugary drinks, soda, energy drinks, and even fruit juices are loaded with sugar that accelerates aging. Refined carbs, white bread, pastries, and chips spike blood sugar and drive fat storage. Ultra-processed snacks, packaged cookies, frozen dinners, and fast food are nutrient-poor but calorie-dense. Excess red meat, daily burgers and steaks stress the heart and shorten lifespan. One Lancet study estimated that poor diet is responsible for 1 in 5 deaths worldwide. That means millions of people are literally eating themselves into early graves. Practical longevity eating tips. You don't need to move to Okinawa or Ikaria to eat like a centenarian. Here are science-backed strategies you can start today. Make beans the star. Add lentils to soups, chickpeas to salads, or black beans to rice dishes. Eat the rainbow. Fill half your plate with colorful vegetables and fruits at every meal. Switch to whole grains. Replace white bread and pasta with brown rice, oats, quinoa, or barley. Use healthy oils. Cook with olive oil instead of butter or margarine. Snack on nuts. Keep a jar of almonds, walnuts, or pistachios on hand. Downsize portions. Use smaller plates or practice hara hachi bu. Stop eating when you're 80% full. Limit meat. Make meat a side dish, not the centerpiece of your plate. Hydrate naturally. Drink water, herbal teas, or green tea instead of sugary drinks. The longevity plate. Imagine your plate divided into sections. 50% vegetables and fruits. 25% beans and whole grains. 15% nuts and healthy fats. 10% fish, eggs, or small portions of meat. This simple balance mirrors what centenarians eat daily, and it's a recipe for health and vitality. Urgent reality check. Here's the harsh truth. Every bite you take is either pulling you closer to 100 or pushing you further away. The average diet today is filled with empty calories, hidden sugars, and chemical additives that accelerate decline. But scientists are clear. Shifting your eating patterns, even later in life, can dramatically change your trajectory. Think about it. In just 1 year, your body can renew most of its cells. That means the food choices you make today start reshaping your future almost immediately. So, do you want to live to 100? Start with your plate. The foods you eat daily will either fuel disease or fuel vitality. Centenarians across the globe prove that longevity isn't about complicated diets. It's about simple, consistent choices rooted in natural, whole foods. But scientists are warning, one of the deadliest modern habits isn't smoking, drinking, or even poor diet. It's sitting. In fact, sitting for long periods is now called the new smoking, and studies link it to higher risks of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and even early death. Here's the alarming truth. Many people today spend 10 to 12 hours a day sitting, working at desks, driving in cars, and watching TV. This lack of movement is silently shaving years off lifespans. But in the world's longest-living communities, you almost never see people sitting still for long. Their secret: natural, daily movement woven into their lives. If you want to make it to 100, exercise isn't optional, it's survival. The blue zone approach to movement. Here's what scientists found in blue zones. People don't rely on gyms, fitness trackers, or grueling workouts. They move constantly, but in natural ways. Okinawa, Japan, elders garden, kneel to sit on the floor, and walk daily to markets. Sardinia, Italy, men herd sheep in mountainous terrain, walking miles every day. Nicoya, Costa Rica, farmers and laborers stay active well into their 90s. Ikaria, Greece, people climb steep hills, work gardens, and walk to neighbors' homes. Loma Linda, California, Adventists take long walks, often with friends or family. The common thread. They don't work out, they live out movement. Why movement is critical for longevity. Science confirms that regular physical activity does more than burn calories. It transforms the body at every level. Heart health. Movement strengthens the heart, lowers blood pressure, and improves circulation. Active people cut their risk of heart disease, the #1 killer, by nearly half. Muscle and bone strength. Regular movement preserves muscle mass and bone density, reducing frailty and fractures in old age. Metabolism and blood sugar. Even light activity improves insulin sensitivity and helps prevent type 2 diabetes. Brain function. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, boosting memory, focus, and lowering dementia risk. Inflammation and immunity. Physical activity lowers chronic inflammation, a key driver of aging, while strengthening immune defense. A major study published in The Lancet showed that just 15 minutes of daily activity can extend life expectancy by 3 years. Imagine, a short daily walk could be the difference between thriving into your 90s or facing early decline. The danger of sedentary living. Let's be blunt, inactivity is deadly. People who sit for more than 8 hours a day with little activity have a risk of death similar to those who smoke or are obese. Sedentary lifestyles are estimated to cause more than 5 million deaths globally each year. Muscles weaken, metabolism slows, and circulation suffers, creating a cascade of health problems that shorten lifespan. And here's the scary part. Even if you go to the gym for an hour, it may not undo the damage of sitting all day. Longevity isn't about a single workout. It's about consistent, natural movement throughout the day. Practical ways to move like a centenarian. You don't need to herd sheep in Sardinia or farm in Costa Rica to build longevity movement into your life. Here's how you can apply Blue Zone wisdom. Walk everywhere you can. Make walking your default. Park further away, take the stairs, or walk while on calls. Aim for at least 7,000 to 8,000 steps daily. Build movement into chores. Gardening, cooking, cleaning, and housework all count as natural exercise. Stretch and strengthen daily. Gentle stretching, yoga, or Tai Chi improve balance and flexibility, reducing fall risks. Use movement snacks. Every hour, stand up and move for 2 to 3 minutes. Walk, stretch, or do light exercises. Carry loads. Like Sardinians carrying wood or water, you can carry groceries, do light lifting, or use bodyweight exercises. Make it social. Walk with friends, join a dance class, or volunteer for community work that keeps you moving. Embrace nature, hike, swim, or work outdoors whenever possible. Natural environments add mental health benefits. The science of walking, a superpower for longevity. Walking may be the single most powerful and underrated tool for living longer. A Harvard study showed that walking just 30 minutes a day reduces heart disease risk by 30%. Older adults who walk regularly are 40% less likely to develop dementia. Walking after meals lowers blood sugar and improves digestion. Centenarians often walk out of necessity, not choice. But in modern life, where convenience dominates, you must choose to walk. And every step could be adding time to your life. Movement and mental health. The benefits of movement extend beyond the body. Regular physical activity lowers stress, improves sleep, and boosts mood. In fact, studies show exercise can be as effective as antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. This matters deeply for longevity. Chronic stress and poor mental health accelerate aging at the cellular level, shortening telomeres and damaging DNA. By moving daily, you're not just protecting your body, you're protecting your mind. Urgent call to action. Here's the stark reality. People who fail to move daily are setting themselves up for rapid decline. Weak muscles, fragile bones, and sluggish circulation lead to dependence, disability, and early death. But the opposite is also true. Those who prioritize movement stay independent, capable, and full of life, even into their 90s and 100s. And it doesn't take extreme effort. Scientists emphasize, small, consistent movement adds up. Stand more, walk more, lift more, stretch more. Every little bit compounds. So if you want to live to 100, take this lesson to heart. Don't sit still for too long. Build a lifestyle of natural, daily movement. Make activity part of who you are, not something you squeeze in. Food fuels your body, but movement keeps it alive. And while eating right may add years to your life, moving right makes those years worth living. Next, we'll look at the third and fourth habits that scientists say are absolutely critical: rest and relationships. Because what's the point of living longer if you're too exhausted to enjoy it, or too lonely to share it? Scientists are warning, it doesn't matter how healthy your diet is or how active you are, if you neglect rest and relationships, you may be cutting years off your life without even realizing it. In fact, studies show that poor sleep and loneliness can be as deadly as smoking or obesity. And yet, in the modern world, millions of people are chronically sleep-deprived and socially isolated. But in the world's longest-living communities, the opposite is true. They prioritize rest as much as activity, and their lives are rich with strong family bonds, friendships, and community connections. These two habits, often overlooked, are silent superpowers that could determine whether you merely age or thrive to 100 and beyond. Habit number 3, rest and recovery. Let's start with rest. The modern world glorifies busyness. People brag about running on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, thinking productivity is worth the sacrifice. But the truth is brutal. Chronic sleep deprivation destroys health. Why sleep is non-negotiable? Brain health. During deep sleep, your brain clears out toxins, including beta-amyloid, the protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Skip sleep, and toxins build up, accelerating cognitive decline. Immune defense. Sleep strengthens immune response. Just one night of poor sleep lowers your body's ability to fight infections. Hormone balance. Sleep regulates appetite hormones. Lack of sleep makes you hungrier, increasing risk of obesity and diabetes. Cellular repair. Your body repairs tissues, muscles, and DNA during rest. Skipping it speeds up aging at the cellular level. A massive study from Harvard linked sleeping less than 6 hours nightly to a 20% higher risk of early death. On the other hand, those who consistently got 7 to 8 hours lived significantly longer. Naps and stress relief. It's not just nighttime sleep. In Icaria, Greece, daily afternoon naps are common, and studies show napping lowers heart disease risk by 37%. Many Blue Zone communities also practice stress-reducing rituals: prayer, meditation, gratitude, or quiet time. These habits calm the nervous system, reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and protect against burnout. Practical rest strategies. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep nightly. Keep a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. Create a wind-down ritual before bed. No screens, dim lights, calming activities. Take short naps, 20 to 30 minutes, if needed, especially after lunch. Practice stress relief, breathing exercises, prayer, meditation, or journaling. The emergency warning is simple: neglect rest, and you'll age faster. Prioritize it, and you'll give your body the chance to renew, repair, and prepare for a longer future. Habit number 4, strong social bonds. Now let's turn to the second overlooked longevity secret: relationships. Loneliness isn't just painful, it's deadly. Scientists now rank social isolation as a major risk factor for early death, on par with smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The science of connection. People with strong social networks live longer, healthier lives. Close relationships reduce stress, improve immune function, and even speed up healing. Married individuals or those with supportive families tend to live several years longer. In fact, A Harvard study that tracked people for over 80 years found one clear predictor of long life and happiness: the quality of relationships. Not money, not fame, not even career success, just relationships. How blue zones do it. Okinawa, Japan. People form lifelong social groups called moais, small circles of friends committed to supporting each other financially and emotionally for life. Sardinia, Italy. Families live together across generations, and elders are respected and cared for. Ikaria, Greece. Social gatherings, festivals, and daily coffee with friends keep isolation at bay. Nicoya, Costa Rica. Strong family ties ensure that older adults are integrated into daily life, not left alone. Loma Linda, California. Faith-based communities provide a sense of belonging and purpose. These centenarians rarely feel lonely. Instead, they are woven into the fabric of their communities, with people to laugh, share meals, and lean on during hard times. Practical connection strategies. Invest in friendships. Make time to see or call close friends regularly. Prioritize family. Eat meals together, visit often, or simply stay in touch. Join communities. Faith groups, clubs, or volunteer organizations offer belonging. Create rituals. Weekly dinners, morning walks, or game nights build lasting bonds. Limit toxic relationships. Quality matters more than quantity. Focus on uplifting connections. The double impact of rest plus relationships. Why are rest and relationships paired together here? Because they are deeply connected. Good sleep strengthens emotional regulation, making it easier to maintain healthy relationships. Meanwhile, positive social ties lower stress, which improves sleep quality. Together, they form a protective shield against decline. Without them, even the best diet and exercise may not save you. But with them, you can extend your years and fill them with joy and connection. Urgent call to action. Here's the warning scientists want you to hear. Isolation and exhaustion are silent killers. You may not notice the damage day to day, but over years, they strip away health and happiness until it's too late. But you can choose differently. You can rest more, stress less, and nurture relationships that lift you up. These aren't luxuries, they are lifelines. If you want to live to 100, you must master the art of balance: work and rest, independence and community, activity and stillness. Centenarians show us that living long isn't just about adding years, it's about adding life to those years. And there's one final secret that ties everything together. Diet, movement, rest, and relationships are powerful, but they all hinge on something deeper: your mindset and purpose. Without it, the rest crumbles. With it, you unlock the final key to longevity. Next, let's explore habit number 5, purpose, mindset, and daily rituals. Scientists say most people spend their lives chasing success, money, or status, only to realize too late that these things don't protect them from decline. What truly separates those who live long, fulfilling lives from those who burn out early isn't luck or genetics. It's purpose. Without it, even the best diet, exercise, and rest may fall flat. With it, the body and mind are driven to keep going, year after year, decade after decade. This is the final secret of centenarians. They live with a ikigai, a reason to wake up in the morning, and they cultivate a mindset of curiosity, gratitude, and resilience that keeps them alive, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally. Why purpose matters for longevity. Purpose isn't a luxury, it's a survival tool. Studies show people with a strong sense of purpose are less likely to develop heart disease, dementia, or depression. They are also more likely to stay physically active and socially engaged. One landmark study followed older adults for years and found those with a strong sense of meaning had a 30% lower risk of death. Purpose literally protects your body at the cellular level, lowering stress hormones and supporting immune function. Think of purpose as fuel. Without it, the body idles, waiting to shut down. With it, the body and brain stay energized, motivated, and resilient, even in the face of illness or hardship. Blue Zone wisdom on purpose. Okinawa, Japan. Elders practice ikigai, a personal reason for living, whether it's tending a garden, caring for grandchildren, or pursuing a craft. Nicoya, Costa Rica, people embrace a strong sense of plan de vida, life plan, that keeps them active and hopeful. Sardinia, Italy, shepherds and villagers remain involved in work, family, and traditions long into old age. Ikaria, Greece, purpose is woven into cultural rituals, farming, and social life. Loma Linda, California, faith provides meaning, community, and direction. In every case, centenarians wake up with something to do, someone to help, or something to look forward to. They don't retire in the way we often imagine. Instead, they shift to meaningful roles that keep them relevant and engaged. The power of mindset. Purpose alone isn't enough. You need the right mindset. Centenarians often share these traits. Optimism, a belief that life is worth living, even in later years. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, loss, or hardship. Gratitude, a daily focus on blessings rather than burdens. Curiosity, a willingness to keep learning, exploring, and growing. Studies confirm that optimistic people live longer and have lower risks of heart disease and premature death. Gratitude practices reduce stress, improve sleep, and boost overall well-being. Daily rituals that fuel longevity. Purpose and mindset aren't abstract. They are built through rituals. Here are common practices that long-lived people use to reinforce meaning every day. Morning rituals. Many centenarians start their day with intention, prayer, meditation, gardening, or walking. This sets a positive tone and reinforces purpose. Service to others, helping family, mentoring youth, or volunteering gives meaning and strengthens social bonds. Cultural traditions, festivals, meals, and religious practices provide structure and belonging. Reflection, journaling, storytelling, or quiet reflection builds gratitude and perspective. Lifelong learning, reading, crafts, or new skills keep the brain sharp and the spirit alive. These rituals aren't complicated, they are consistent. And consistency is the secret ingredient of longevity. Urgent reality check. Here's the hard truth. Many people today lose purpose after retirement. They stop working, their kids move away, and suddenly, they feel invisible. This loss of meaning accelerates decline, leading to depression, isolation, and early death. Scientists warn that retirement without purpose can be dangerous. But here's the good news. You can choose to create purpose at any age. Whether it's caring for family, starting a hobby, volunteering, or simply setting daily goals, having a reason to get up in the morning may be the most powerful longevity tool you'll ever have. How to cultivate purpose and mindset now. Ask yourself why. What makes you excited to wake up each day? What gives your life meaning? Write it down. Start small. Purpose doesn't need to be grand. It could be tending plants, cooking for loved ones, or teaching a skill. Practice gratitude daily. Write 3 things you're thankful for each day. This rewires the brain for positivity. Surround yourself with positive people. Optimism is contagious. Avoid negativity and seek uplifting connections. Keep growing. Learn a new language, skill, or hobby. Growth keeps the mind young. Serve others. Purpose often grows from helping others. Even small acts of kindness count. Closing the circle, the 5 habits. Let's step back. Scientists have revealed 5 habits that could determine whether you live a shorter life or make it to 100 with strength, clarity, and joy. The food factor: eat mostly plants, beans, and whole foods. Movement as a lifestyle: build natural activity into your daily routine. Rest and recovery: prioritize sleep and stress relief. Strong social bonds: nurture family, friends, and community. Purpose and mindset: wake up each day with meaning and optimism. Each one is powerful. Together, they are transformative. Scientists say most people miss out on these habits, not because they are impossible, but because they underestimate their power. The truth is, you don't need extreme diets, expensive supplements, or punishing workouts. You need consistency. Small, daily choices that compound into decades of vitality. Imagine yourself at 100, sharp, mobile, surrounded by people you love, still laughing, still learning, still contributing. That future is possible, but only if you start now. Because every day you wait is a day you either move closer to 100 in good health or further away. The choice is yours.